Good Cowboy fans. Could there be dissension amongst the Cowboys? Could mutiny be afloat? Um, throwing folks under the bus, maybe. And also, we're just going to talk a little bit about what leadership is and what it's not. And I'm probably going to say a couple things that going to ruffle some feathers. That's fine. It's my opinions. And when you look at it, I'll be right, but that's fine. And then Cowboys signed a receiver. Eh, Not the one you think. We signed Antonio, but not that Antonio. But we're going to talk about that in here just a minute. Let's talk. What's good, Cowboy fans? It's your boy, Uncle Fred, back in the house, back in the saddle, one more again. Please hit that like, comment, and subscribe and become a part of the Uncle Fred Sports Experience. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. How y'all feeling today? Okay, it's a day and a half or a day and so after the whatever you want to call that, it happened at Green Bay. I don't know how y'all are feeling, but I know it's some. According to Mike McCarthy, there's some red tail parts. And I'm not gonna say the word on air, but it's in this description. You'll see it. It's some red tail going on amongst the Cowboys. As they go back to practice and team meetings, a lot of finger pointing. First, it came Monday when they was talking to Micah Parsons. Micah's all about. He's the consummate leader of the defense. Of course, Dak's the consummate leader of the offense. They both did that thing differently. We're going to talk about what that thing is now. Of course, now Micah said something like, because they was asked him about, the run defense and that sort of thing. Because Cowboys gave up average 143 yards a game on giving up on a rush on the rushing game per game. I'll say it right in a minute, which is 29th in the league. That's got to get stopped. Anyway, he said, guys, we got people want to keep doing what they want and playing it how they want. We're going to be dealing with this all year long. Sort of alluding that the guys are kind of freelancing. The guys are kind of doing their own thing. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But then he goes on to say that, until we put this fire out, we're gonna keep seeing it. Okay. And so, and then he goes on to say it's all about accountability. We got to be accountable. We got to stay in our gaps. And we got to stop the run, or it's going to be a long year. Okay. That's what he said. Okay. And then that was kind of backed up by Mike McCarthy, basically saying, and I'm going to say what it is. I'm just going to tell you like this. Now, he's basically talking about the defensive lineman, which he usually plays defensive line, plays edge rusher. But on Sunday, curiously, he played, of his snaps, he played 47 snaps at middle linebacker, which is off the ball, back in coverage and back in reading and reacting. 4 snaps at defensive back. I know Anthony Brown went down, and you had some things going, and 9 snaps at edge rusher. So, so I don't know why that was, but anyway, but he was talking about because here's the thing: the defensive lineman. Let me tell you something. That stopping the run is a thing that they do, but rushing the quarterback is how they get paid. Now, what he's basically talking about is the DNs. We're talking about Fowler. We're talking about Dorrance Armstrong. I don't know if he's talking about DeMarcus Lawrence. Now, he didn't really point no fingers or nothing. He's just saying that we got to, basically saying, he's talking about him too. I done seen him out of position for some of them too, but that's the thing. But he said until we fix this, there's no me, it's we. That's leadership, okay? We got to deal with that, all right? And, and then Mike McCarthy followed that up at his press conference today by saying, yeah, we want our defensive linemen to think it's a privilege to pass rush. But the staple is stopping the run. Because if you don't stop the run, it don't matter. You're not going to get no sacks. They ain't going to ever be in passing. They're not going to ever be in a passing down. And you're not going to win a bunch of games. Because once teams find out that you can't stop the run, that's what they're going to do. Look at the Philadelphia Eagles last night. Shouts out to the Washington Commanders for giving the Eagles that offer, giving them that work last night, right? But yeah, the Washington football team rushed for almost 150 yards, 147 on 49 carries. I think it's like 3.94 yards a carry. Yeah. And Jordan Davis is out for the Eagles too. So that, when teams find out you got a weakness, just like they find out we got a weakness. We didn't give it 200 yards back-to-back games. Gave up like 130 to the Lions, 167 to the New York Giants, 140-something to the Commanders when we played them last. Yeah, the rushing yard is just piling up, okay? And what ends up happening when you go to pass rush, you'll get yourself out of position, and that offensive lineman will just nudge you on out the way, and the running back will run right in behind you. And what they've got to start doing is, coming to attacking the line of scrimmage as if you're attacking the running back, and then if you don't, you just go get the quarterback while you're through. So, and just understand this: if you stuff them on first down and it's second down and 12, you will have a second down pass play. That's guaranteed. That's guaranteed. So basically, he was saying that, and of course now Mike McCarthy said everybody got the red tail. That means everybody's mad. There's a lot of finger pointing. There's a lot of folks and he thought that was good. I'm like, I don't know if that's good or not. It's good if you're gonna be productive and fix the problems. If it's just about a yelling fest and everybody cussing each other out. I don't get into the over emotional stuff. I like to take things from a logical approach. You want to get things fixed. Fix your run gaps. Fix your angles in which you attack your pass rush so that you can keep yourself in position where you can stop a ball carrier if he comes through. You know what I'm saying? So those are the kind of things that they was talking about. And so and then we'll talk about Dak Prescott. Of course, now y'all know I love Dak Prescott. I got Dak Prescott right here, number 4. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. Can y'all see that, number 4? Yeah, I don't know if y'all can see that or not. But that's number. I got him right there. Sometimes I've worn that while I do my videos and whatnot. But yeah, I got him up there. That's probably my favorite Cowboy. But I still I got issues with Dak. I like Dak, and I think he's a good quarterback. He's not perfect. There's issues with him. He does some things not as good as some other, but you could do a whole lot worse as a quarterback than Dak. And a lot of y'all, when he's gone, will miss him. But yeah, you could do a whole lot worse. You could do a whole lot, and you've had worse. Okay, Cowboys have really only had 2 excellent quarterbacks in their 60-year history. Yeah, Roger Staubach, and you had Troy Aikman. Romo was okay at times, and at times, kind of like Dak. He's okay at times. And I always thought when we had Romo, if you put the right things around him, you coach him the right way, we could win some games with him. And it wasn't until Romo was in his 10th year, 10th year, that they started developing a running game around him and developing the offensive line. And that's when he had his best years, and his best years in addition to us having team success. Okay. He had some 4,000, almost 5,000 yards passing, and we was 8-8. But when we started incorporating the run in there, and he's throwing it 30 times a game and running it 20, we run it 25, 30 times, about the same formula we did with Dak, we won games, right? But, Dak's a good quarterback, 66, 67% completions, throws about 4,000 yards a season. those about 27 to 30 touchdowns. I mean, you could do a lot worse. You could have Carson Wentz. You could have Matt Ryan. You could have Jacoby Brissett. You could have Russell Wilson as he is right now. Okay? It's a whole lot worse things got going for you than Dak Prescott. So I haven't said that. Dak said something today, and I'm going to tell you why he said that, and I'm going to tell you about leadership, and then we're going to go on to the rest of our video. Now, Dak, when they talked to him in his press conference, and they asked him about the 2 interceptions. And we know the 2 interceptions. One he threw in the second quarter, the 2 he threw in the second quarter, the one when we were on the 10-yard line, and one 2 possessions later when it was 3rd and 10. Okay. And he was asked what was the deal, whose fault it was. Now, he tried to say it diplomatic, but he basically said, yeah, Dalton Schultz and CeeDee Lamb, basically it was communication issues, and they ran the wrong routes. And while that might seem innocent enough, I didn't like it. Uncle Fred didn't like it. Okay. You know why I don't like it? I'm gonna tell you just like why I don't like it. I'm gonna tell you why I don't like it. Y'all listen up to this, okay? I didn't like it because Dak Prescott, you are the leader of the team. Now, Micah's the leader of the defense, but you are the franchise quarterback, and you're the face of the franchise. Okay. You signed a $40 million per year contract, a 4-year, $160 million, and like 130, 120 of it, however much of it was fully guaranteed or whatever. I don't know if it's fully, but guaranteed. And when you signed the deal, it was coming on the heels of you still having on your franchise tag. So you got the first year of the proceeds of that deal in the corporation with your franchise with like 35 million. So you got $75 million last year. Okay. Now, when you are paid like that, you're paid to not only, let's understand this. When you're the quarterback, the quarterback is the only position in the NFL that has a 1-loss record assigned to it. Now, Dak's like 56-35, something like that. It's like 21 games over 500 or something like that. That's why I say you could do a lot worse than Dak Prescott. Okay. But you don't see no numbers attached to other positions. You don't see no numbers attached to CeeDee Lamb or Amari Cooper or Cooper Kupp or Devontae Adams. But you see him with Matthew Stafford and Aaron Rodgers and Dak Prescott, don't you? Right, because you're the quarterback. You get the most money. When you win, you get the most credit. Tom Brady got the most credit in the 2019-2018 Super Bowl, and they won 13-3. He didn't throw a single touchdown through and got an interception and a fumble. But because you're the quarterback, now I think Julian Edelman was the MVP. But Tom Brady got a bunch of dap for that because he engineered it. He's at the helm. You touch the ball every play. Okay. So when you're the quarterback, when you win game, when you was 13-3, but everybody was all on everybody, and you got when you win in games, you get all that. But the other side of that is when you're not doing so well, you got to stand and take those arrows because that's how that comes with that. I'm sorry, Dak. That comes with that. That comes with that. Okay. When you're a leader, you got to be able to lead all the way around. You just can't lead in the times you want to lead. You just don't want to. You don't want to lead just because you can tell folks what to do. It's more to leadership than just telling people what to do. You have to be able to lead in crisis, in bad, and you got to lead when the sun's shining and when it's raining. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you why you're starting to come unglued. Usually, Dak's pretty polished in those press conferences. I'm going to tell you why he started coming unglued. He started coming unglued because he signed that big contract. Now, they was coming for Dak when he was making $4 million a year. You go making that kind of money, and they seeing you short hopping passes, seeing picks being thrown. They're going to blame you regardless. Now, to his credit, Mike McCarthy, when he was asked in the press conference about those 2 interceptions, and he said, well, and he was trying to not say nothing about it, but the reporter asked him point blank. So, well, as a coach, how did it really go? Did you see it the way CD saw it or the way Dak saw it? He saw it the way Dak saw it. The position, the wide receiver is supposed to occupy a certain position on that route when the safety is at a certain depth. And I'm just going to say it like that. And and he said, yeah, and that wasn't where he was at. And Dak threw the ball with anticipatory of him being in a certain place, and he went, he took an alternative route to get to the spot, and that caused the pass to be intercepted. And I'm paraphrasing here. So, but Dak was getting. I'll be listening to the chats. I listen to a lot of Cowboy creators and stuff who got call-ins and stuff. People could call in. Yeah, Dak, they giving Dak the business. Oh yeah, Dak. Yeah, we gonna get Cooper back in there. He just throwing interceptions all over the place and stuff like that. So yeah, they coming for him. But you knew they was gonna come for you when you signed that big deal. Okay, and I'm saying that because I feel like, and look, I'm not going to begrudge nobody for making their money. You make your money, man. You know what I'm saying? You make your money. But I think the Cowboys offered you a decent deal in the beginning, like in early 2020 when they was negotiating. I think it was like 30 to 32, 35 million, 4 years, 5 years, 130, 140 million, and I think 80, 90 guaranteed somewhere in there. I don't quote me exactly on that. But considering what he had done in the league, I thought that was more than adequate. But Todd Franz, your agent, the CAA Sport, I think it's CIA Sports or whatever. I think that's the name of the agency. Basically turned Jerry and the Cowboys upside down and shook all the money out. So basically, you got 40 and 160, and you got like 100 of it guaranteed and all that sort of stuff. And like I said, you got to understand this is a hard salary cap league. Okay, it's not the NBA. They can't flex that and give you a tax penalty for going over. No, you can't go over. Okay, so your cap hit next year is $49 million. So next year, and you want to throw CeeDee Lamb on it. CeeDee Lamb make about $2 million a year. Now, how I'm looking at that is we're struggling right now with the wide receiver position, and CeeDee Lamb ain't really got paid yet. See, and because of the cap money that you're gonna be hit for now, I know they can go in and ask you to restructure your stuff, and you'll probably do that. But the fact of the matter is, there's gonna be a lot of players on this team they're not gonna be able to retain because you took probably 10, $12 million more than you probably should have took. And then let's face this fact now. You in about 8, 9, 10 national commercials, they're paying you about $50 million. I'm not counting your pockets. I'm just saying you got to understand your place in this thing. You're only getting them commercials because you got this on your helmet. You don't see Kirk Cousins in no commercials. I've yet to see him. Matter of fact, you don't see no Cowboy quarterbacks in no commercials other than Tom Brady. Used to see Aaron Rodgers before the whole jab thing, I'm immunized or whatever. That kind of cost him. And Patrick Mahomes. And you saw some Baker Mayfield, but that's because he's in Cleveland and that's progressive. He ain't in Cleveland no more. So only thing you see him in is the Heisman house, right? But you ain't on the same level with Brady and Mahomes and Rodgers. The reason you get put on that same pedestal, you probably make more than them in that endeavor. It's because you got this on your helmet. You're the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. That has prestige. That's going to open doors for you even when you leave the Cowboys. The last 2 Cowboy quarterbacks of significance, they got lucrative broadcasting deals with Fox and Amazon Prime. $15 to $18 million a year. Being a Cowboy has its perks. Right? And if it were me, I was like, you know what, man, I'll take 32 as long as y'all surround me with good players so we can continue to win. Okay? But you didn't. You took all the money, and now you want to throw folks under the bus that work under you. And it don't work like that, bro. It just don't. It don't work like that. Okay? Because when you in charge, now I know a lot of folks, and I'm gonna get in trouble here, but a lot of people want to make everything equal, will make it all the whatever equal and think everybody's supposed to be in charge. All I know is that at the house, if there's a fire and one of the kids is trapped in the house, I know somebody going in to check to get that kid out, and the other one's going to be on the sidewalk in a blanket crying, shivering in the cold, crying. If there's a knock at the door at 3 in the morning, somebody's gonna go see who that is at the door. You know, if you cohabitate now, so obviously somebody's gonna be the one to go see. If there's something bumping at night at the house, somebody's gonna go see what that's about, and somebody's gonna stay behind and hide or do whatever. Okay. So what I'm saying is, if you the man like you're supposed to be, you don't go send. I'm just gonna say it like it. You don't send your wife to the door to go at 3 o'clock in the morning to see who it is. You get up and you go. You know, you don't send your wife into the house and a fire while you talking to the fire, while you talking to the police or whatever. You know, if the fire department ain't got there, you don't send her. You go. Okay. No, what you should have said. We had some miscommunications. And but you know what? It begins and ends with me. I got to be better. I got to communicate stuff better. We will be better. Boom. It's done. You don't go telling, you know, and that blame game been going all the way back since the Bible. What did Adam tell God? You know, this woman you gave me made me dude. He gave you the blueprint. He ain't giving to her. He gave them to you. You know, but he won't play the blame game. Now you want to be in charge, you know, it's more than wearing a good suit and walking around and telling folks what to do. There's responsibility that goes with that. And I think that seat got hot for that, but he should have known that when he took that contract. I don't know why he didn't know that. That seat was hot when he was making $4 million. All right. So no, I didn't like that coming from Dak. And then see, there's an arrogancy that comes from Dak I don't like too, because people may not know last summer there was an offer made to him. I think Romo and I think Tony and Troy Aikman had wanted to, you know, because they got vested interest in the Cowboys too. They played for the Cowboys. They love the Cowboys too, right? They wanted to like take a summer and just sit, go to the ramp, go to the Star, and watch film with that, and just go over some things. Just get, you know, hey, you never know what they may know, what they may nugget they may have may help you. All right, you might never know what they might do to help you, right? Don't be so proud that you don't take a hand from somebody, you know, while you still throwing interception, not reading defenses carefully. Troy Aikman was a pretty daggum good quarterback, and Romo had his moments. But in his capacity as being the head broadcaster for CBS, he got to study film in order to be able to communicate what he's seeing to the average viewer. So that might be a good resource. I'd be a good resource. I'd have been. I said, look, man, let's just take 2-3 days. Let's go to order some pizzas and some beers. We're just gonna watch some film for days. Let's get a good understanding of some things. I would have done it. I wouldn't have felt bad about it. But Dak's brother was like, he ain't taking over the advice from that. Okay, that's fine. But then you take these arrows and deal with it. Okay. Don't get me wrong, I love Dak Prescott, but I gotta call a spade when I see it. Okay. So, so there's a lot of finger pointing and a lot of things going on with that. And so that's fine. Long as it's productive, long as they get the thing corrected, I'm fine with it. Okay. I don't care about them having red tail or whatever. Remember when they lost to Denver last year, he bought them some salve or whatever, the monkey butt or whatever that stuff was, because they had the red tail or whatever, red ASS. So no, I'm not happy with the leadership that come from Dak on that. And I know in the ATL, I don't know if y'all ever seen that movie before with Big Boy from the Outcast. He told Evan Ross, Donna Ross's son, the youngest one or whatever. And he was, going to the dope business or whatever. And he said, now, look here, now I'm going to tell you just like this grown man business now. You understand that? Yeah, I get it. Okay. It's grown man business. Don't come crying when the things start getting sideways. Can't come to me crying. I'm going to tell Dak, 75 million, 40 million per year. It's grown man business, bro. Grown man business. Grown man business. Okay. So, all right. So, and there's a couple of things I want to talk about. And I know we're talking about Micah and things like that. I mentioned something. And there's something I want y'all to think about. We're going to go and move into some roster spots and stuff like that. But we noticed that Micah was kind of like a non-participant in Sunday's game. You know, he played a little off linebacker, he's out, he's in pass coverage, doing a lot of stuff. It just didn't really make an impact. So I'm hobble off the field. You know, Micah's been hurt a lot. And it had me to thinking, is all this pass rushing wearing Micah out? You know, because that's a lot of collisions where you running in at full speed at guys 30 and 40 pounds heavier than you, throwing your shoulders and hips and stuff at them guys and banging into them guys trying to get to the quarterback, getting held and all kind of, you having to twist and contort to get all in there. You know, I mean, Micah not the biggest dude. He about 6'3", about 248, 250, but offensive lineman average about 300. And I'm just wondering if all these little nicks and crannies, these nicks and bruises and stuff he's getting, are they a product of him being overused at the edge rusher position? And if so, you know, I'm just wondering, because every time I look, I remember at the Rams game, he had to groin, but he came in, got him another sack and a strip fumble, and I've seen him hobble off. He had an ankle something the other day, and then shoulder, and the Chicago game, man, last few games, he was sitting back on the bench like this. Like he was just totally tuckered. And I'm just wondering, are we using him up? That's just something to think about. That's just something to think about. Something just came to my mind. And we really don't want to mess that, because that's our dude. That's the dude. Micah is the dude. I don't care what nobody say. That's that number one. That's the dude. Now I hope we don't wear him out or have him overextended. He end up having a season-ending injury because our goose is cooked if that happens. So I just wonder, there's something to watch, because it seems like he's always got some nagging thing, but he gonna play because that's the kind of dude he is. He about that. Anyway, look at this, some roster spots, some roster things, roster moves. We signed a receiver. Yeah, I know y'all thought some Odell Beckham. No, that's still, he narrowed it down to us and the Giants, I think. I'm like, the Giants? I think Kansas City might kind of still be in it. Kansas City got a plethora of receivers. I just can't see them going with that, whatever. But we'll see. No, we signed Antonio. Not Antonio Brown. I know it's what y'all was thinking. I was like, no, we don't need Antonio Brown. But we got Antonio Callaway. Antonio Callaway, 5'11", 205 pound, 4-year receiver out of Florida. Drafted in the 4th round, 2018 by the Cleveland Browns. Played there a year and a half. Got released. 2020 played with the Dolphins. Handful of games. Got released, and then got 2021 was in the Kansas City practice squad, but never put on the 53-man rotation for them. He's got 53 career receptions for 695 yards and 5 touchdowns. I think he's got a 41-yarder touchdown on his docket amongst his 5 touchdowns. He did have some behavioral issues in why he was released from Cleveland. I seem like I do remember him at Florida when he was there. I seem like I do remember him. But hey, we get all we can get, because we need some help at the receiver position. Noah Brown is still coming back around. Michael Gallup still has not found his way. I think he had like 3-4 catches for like 35 yards. He just don't have that burst, man. He's back, but he's still not the Michael Gallup. He might not be Michael Gallup till next year. That's why getting Odell Beckham is so important for us to do. And I don't know where James Washington at. I ain't heard. I thought he'd be back by now after the bye and everything. I thought for sure he'd be back. But nope, ain't seen him. So we got Antonio Callaway. He's on the practice squad. And then, of course, they'll get him ramped up, and we'll move him to the 53-man roster, and we'll see what happens there. So, whatever. But also look for this. And this is something I heard. I got this from Vosh Lombardi, one of the biggest Cowboy creators, him and Mike Fisher and CFT. Those are some of the guys I listen to and whatnot, because, all us Cowboy guys plugged into stuff for that. We try to get information. We try to give it to you guys, and I got a handful of followers. They got thousands, so I try to disseminate that to my handful of followers. You know what I mean? But anyway, look for Jason Peters to start at left tackle. If not this Sunday, maybe by Thanksgiving. Okay. And I think that they're going to slide Tyler Smith to left guard. This is kind of to fix Connor McGovern. Connor McGovern was not good, man. He was just not good Sunday. And he's been okay. And we've been able to run the ball in spite of him. Now, personally, I would do the thing in reverse. I would keep Tyler Smith at left tackle because he's younger and more athletic, and put Jason Peters at guard because you're in a phone booth and he don't need as much athleticism, because you got to be a ballerina to be a left tackle, because them edge rushers coming around there. You think he could block Micah coming to him at full speed, bending that corner? I'm talking about Jason Peters. I give Tyler Smith a little better chance of doing that because he's younger and more athletic than I would Jason Peters. Jason Peters is 40. Okay. But what I think they're setting up, remember I told you in my last midweek report, Tyron Smith is scheduled to be back about mid-December. Yeah. Pretty good for a dude that had his hamstring tore off his bone, man. That's pretty good. So yeah, I thought, man, he done for the season. Ain't no way I'd try to rush and come back. But that dude, he's a dude. Tyron Smith is a dude. First ballot Hall of Famer. Dude like a 9-time All-Pro. So yeah, he's that dude, man. So, and that's gonna give us much needed depth. And probably he'll go back to his regular left tackle position, move Tyler Smith, leave Tyler Smith in at the left guard, and then you rotational with Jason Peters. He's like a floating tackle, swing guard, swing, he can play some of the other positions. And then they signed Brock Hoffman, get his name right, to the practice squad. He's going to be the backup center. So, you got Tyler Biotish, some backups. And you probably won't see him, which is always good to have depth at your offensive line, because the offensive linemen get rolled up all the time, man. That's a tough job, man, running the offensive line. And it's a thankless job too. So good we can have, Jason Peters back and Tyler Smith. I just wish it was in the reverse. Tyler Smith at tackle, Jason Peters at guard, and then Biotish at center, Zach at guard, and Terrence Steele at right tackle. And I think we can move some things. But they're going with Peters at left tackle and Tyler Smith at left guard, and then the rest, like we said. So let's be on the lookout for that. Like I said, Lombardi got some info, and he was telling. I was like, ooh, I'm gonna tell that to my folks. So be on the lookout. So when you see that Sunday, be like, Uncle Fred told me that Jason Peters was gonna be back at left tackle. Remember, I told you that. Okay. Hopefully Zeke will be back too when we go play Minnesota this week. And what you guys think about? We're going to play 8-1 Minnesota. We're going to close the video. And I come to find out that the Cowboys are 1.5-point favorite. Yeah. What? We're 6-3. This 8-1. They just went up to Buffalo and beat Buffalo Bills. They lost a home game all year. Yeah. I don't know about that right there, man. I don't know about that. Oh, just a little tidbit too. We was talking about, we was talking about that salary cap thing. And the reason I think that salary cap thing, and I'm kind of rehashing something, is wrong. And, all the thing is equal. Everybody get equal money. The Cowboys are worth $8.4 billion. It was worth about $500 million when Jerry bought it. He's built that thing up to where it's at now, where it's worth $8 billion. Okay. And that's the credit to Jerry, because nobody else can market and build like Jerry. I just wish he wouldn't be in the day-to-day football operation. How you do to do that? How you would do to do the day-to-day football, the hiring the coaches, the GM stuff, the draft, the talent evaluation, all that stuff, coaches and GMs, all that stuff. Somebody to do, and you just do the other stuff. They report to you, but I'm digressing. But you got to share all that money equally. even though you done built your brand up better than everybody else. And you know that TV money that they're getting, you know. Did you guys know? And this is just something this just between we just shooting the breeze now. The game we watched on Sunday between the Cowboys and the Packers. Did you know that game drew 29 million viewers? It's the most watched football game this year. Most watched game since the Super Bowl. Do you know why that game was watched as much as it was? But I got to share my money equally with the Cincinnati Bengals. Mike Brown. Make that make sense to me. I built my thing up. I sell more than anybody in the agency, but I gotta share my stuff equally with the dude that barely come to work. Make that make sense to me. That's why I said all this equality stuff, it's fine for certain things, but when you talking about competitive stuff, no, man. The best, whoever's the best should get the most. Period, point blank. But that's just a little food for thought. That's something I thought about there. But yeah, 29 million views. Matter of fact, the top two Sunday night football games, number one, Cowboys and Buccaneers, the opening games, September 11th, and Cowboys and Philadelphia Eagles about 3 weeks ago. And then this game here was the most watched game of the year. Just saying. Just saying. But that's all I got from the desk of Uncle Fred. As I said all these other times, please like, comment, and subscribe. Become a part of the Uncle Fred Sports Experience. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. And we'll catch you guys on the next video. Y'all take care. God bless.